And yeah, so it really helped. I suggest trying it. And the artist that I had seen do it, actually, she painted, just took medium gray acrylic paint and put it on a piece of paper, let it dry, and then hole punched it in the center. But like if you take it and you can move it along the picture, and it actually, that area isolates the color, because sometimes when you're looking at this, you think that's what it is, and then it's like you hold it over here and it's way more down here. It was way more red, like red violet, than my eye was seeing on the picture. This photograph that I took, I'm gonna paint off the picture I sent you guys through WhatsApp. It's more, obviously it's a picture I took, so the printout off my printer isn't like the picture. So I just want to say I have this up so we can follow along, but my palette choice is going to be more along the lines of the picture that I took. So just be aware of that. If it seems a little brighter or off a little bit off this, I'm referring to my phone picture a little better. So, and then I'll spotlight this. So, anyhow, I thought this would be fun to paint. And you know what I realized? You guys have done underpaintings, both of you. So if you want to do an underpainting, go for it. I kind of was looking at it, and I know for some, they don't feel comfortable or don't have all the materials. And I don't know all the time who's going to come to class. So I tried to accommodate everyone, but I was kind of thinking it might be fun if we wanted to do an underpainting, especially up in the upper sky, and then like have fun with, dragging those wispy clouds over the top. It might give a little bit more of that texture if you guys are up for it.
Yeah, I've only done it once, so you'll have to talk me through it again, but yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So, and you know what, Jackie, it might be even after class. I mean, we may finish this a little bit earlier, but try it both ways. What I will tell you with anything, but sunsets especially, we can get to mud very fast. And I just want to I guess, point out, when we do sunsets, if we're doing an underpainting, it's okay to put the product over product. It's actually dried and it's on your surface. But if we were to come in, and the way I was going to approach it is, I wouldn't paint blue and then come over with pink if I weren't doing an underpainting. Because what happens is when you paint the blue, when you put the blue and then you try to bring this pink or purple color over it, it just starts to mix and make different colors, right? So if we do an underpainting, it solidifies that blue, and there's no mixing. It's not going to mix with your next layer of color over it. So that's the only time that I would say do your underpainting. But if you're not going to do an underpainting for a sunset, don't. I know it's tempted, but we would just, like tree holes, sky holes, we would make these marks of the blue. We wouldn't paint the blue first and then come over with the pink and purple. And that's just if we were not doing an underpainting. So for whatever reason, it's kind of like being funky right now.
Your video's frozen.
What was that?
Your video's frozen.
Yeah.
There you go.
There we go. Can you see it okay?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's do it. Let's try doing the underpainting. And then before we begin with that, Jackie, I've got the rubbing the alcohol. That's what I'm going to use. Yep. I noticed right away in this picture, this composition of mine, which is super simple. It goes off the rule of thirds, right? It's all about the sky. We've got our horizon down in the lower third, rule of thirds, right? But over here in this area, we've got this is the 205 bridge here in Portland, and we've got the land, and see that distant hill in the back? It's almost tangent with this bridge, and we kind of, as a painter and artist, we need to decide how we want to tackle that. And meaning, when we look at composition for painting wise, we want to make it easier for your viewer, right? And it creates a problem with distance. In a picture, you can see that it's a bridge and it's not that big of a deal, but when we actually paint it and we're intentionally putting it in, that's the part we need to make a decision. Do we raise this up, or do we not include the distant mountain, or how do we tackle? It's just like when you have a mountain and the top of the tree hits the top of the mountain. You need to either decide to put the tree up above the mountain or not do the tree at all, because you have to give some type of visual distance, aerial distance. So this area here, I haven't decided what I really want to do yet, and it's not that big of a deal. I may just, you what?
I say cut the bridge entirely.
Exactly, right?
Because no one knows where this picture is. It could just be.
That's right.
Any headland sticking out into water. You know?
Right. And so, and then the question gets good. And then the question gets, do we bring the land all the way over? Or do we just have the land to maybe not right in the center, maybe here? So this is why it's always good. I haven't painted this yet. So on pictures that I haven't painted, I always try to do compositional sketches before, because this is where your planning comes in. So I guess what's your guys' thoughts about this land mass?
Well, if it doesn't, like if you end it, then does it just become water hitting the horizon line?
Yep.
Yeah, okay.
Yep. So one thing that this compositionally, why I liked it, the sky, the clouds are coming up, and then see these clouds kind of going off this way. So you have this almost circle where the viewer is getting pulled up and back down and then back this way. So you have this circular movement in the painting and we want to be intentional with some clouds that kind of wisp up here and kind of intentionally, bring them out and a little bit down. Again, this is all pre-planning of how we do our paintings for composition. We've got a great start. Now we get the license to adjust. And a lot of times you'll come and see these paintings and it's like, dang, it just draws you in and everything looks good. And it's because that painter took the time to set up that composition. And sometimes you don't even realize it, but it's so important. And like Jeannie said, this, not a big deal. Now we need to decide what we want to do with this landmass. And I say the sun was setting down here. So if we cut it back a little bit, I think that would be okay. Or have it just kind of like taper down, just start tapering down. So we get to kind of decide how we want that. You could even carve out an area here and put the sun and make it where the sun's sitting right here and then rays coming out. This is the fun part, right? So you kind of get to add those things as you start feeling comfortable, but I just want you to see, I want you to hopefully, when you look at a picture, you look at it and go, there, that needs to adjust a little bit. I need to adjust that, or that's not reading right, and then feel comfortable fixing it. So that's my hopes. But anyhow, let's get started. I've got quite a bit of blues picked out for this area of the sky. Since we're going to do an underpainting, which is going to be fun, we're going to start with some really nice dark blues, and it's just going to be a gradation. And you can see this yellowy, it's like this warm turquoise over here. So we're going to go with the turquoise, and don't worry if it's too dark. we can always adjust over the top. And then with this landmass, I've got some really dark purples. You can do dark blue if you like. And then again, going back to the water here, we've got light shimmering off the top, but really it's pretty dark. And so I'm gonna do a dark blue, but it's gonna be on a little bit of a warmer side, because we've got it's actually casting a shadow down onto the water. So that's kind of what I'm thinking about, how we're gonna start. So let's get started. So does anyone have any questions?
Yeah,
Okay, go ahead.
the edge of the water, the horizon line of the water
Yes.
actually curves down to the right? Or is it an illusion because the trees are bigger?
Um,
And it looks to me like it curves down.
oh, this
Yeah,
curving down.
Triangle coming in but the horizon line is actually.
Yeah, that's
And
the
it goes straight across, so the actual horizon goes right through the trees.
yes. So we're gonna want to correct that. We're gonna want it straight across.
Oh, okay.
Yep. And because you are correct, then everything will start doing this, like almost like it is starting to look like a rainbow. Everything's
Yeah.
gonna start falling off, and we don't want anything to draw your eye off the page. The idea is to keep the viewer in the painting and moving.
Okay, so we're flattening the water to a straight horizon.
Yeah, we're gonna keep that, and the lights on top of the water, we can be the director of that to indicate marks, the lighter marks on the water to point the viewer this way.
Mhm.
Yeah, but the water itself, we're gonna keep it straight across.
Okay.
We're gonna keep the tree line flat, and then everything else will orchestrate around. No, that's a good question. So I'm gonna grab a I don't want black. I've got a blue pastel pencil, but you can use like a hard pastel pencil or a hard pastel if you want to draw a line. Let's see if I can't get it here. Using my cheating way. Okay. So let's start with the top of the sky. I've got some nice blues here. So I'm gonna just show you blues and purples, and it's just gonna start gradating down.
I am. I just haven't unwrapped it yet.
Okay. So these are my blues. And primarily dark blue and some purple blues that I just showed you down into some light blues. This section, I'm going to show you what I have for that section. It's going to be a little more turquoise. And take a picture for you. Those two turquoise do look fairly close to each other. One is just the one in the middle is just slightly lighter.
I get a little confused about turquoise, the color, because is it blue or is it blue-green?
It's blue-green.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah, no, good question. So general rule of thumb, as we're moving down to the horizon on as a color goes, usually it's warmer, right? and turquoise is a warmer color. And so we usually, that's why we're using turquoise down here below versus up here. So no, that's a good question. Keep asking away. So I'm going to start in right now with some of the dark blue. I'm just going to come right over here. I'm kind of going at an angle following the clouds that were over. Now I'm going to pick up the other stick, which has a little more purple in it. I'm going to come with a lighter. This is a lighter purple. Got some light blue. Got turquoise. Another thing, if we weren't going to do the alcohol, I would rub this in with some pipe insulation foam, and then I might use some fixative, and you could fix it too. That's a way to.
Are you gonna put the trees in it all?
Yeah, I'll put yes, I've got some, thank you. I kind of forgot that, Jeannie. I was just going down to the water. Huh. Good job. Way to be paying attention.
I'm here to help.
Yes,
So-
yes, you are.
What color is that though? What color is
This is like a dark eggplant purple. And it's warmer. It's on the warmer tone because we've got a lot of warmth hitting those trees. And so that's why I chose it. And I'm going to come back in with some of that dark blue and just hit the bottoms of it. So I'll take a picture of these two for you. And then let me take a picture of this. I'm just going to come back over some of this dark blue. Okay, the water. Let's address that. Probably take that dark blue that I just had. Yeah, that's great, Jeannie. Perfect. This is going to be fun. Because now when we take our alcohol, you get to paint it, right? And you can add a little bit of those, indicating how the structure is with the trees if you want, or you can just block it in. And that's the fun part. So I'm going to pour the alcohol. How are you doing, Jackie?
I'm just going to attempt to show you.
Great.
And I have a shadow, but you'll get the idea.
Oh, yes, that's okay. Yeah. Great. So do you see why I did the warmer turquoise over here? And then the purples? Can you see that right in here? I just want to make sure. It's kind of, I don't want anyone to think like, why are you choosing this? And it's not making sense. So I don't want to move too fast. And
Okay.
okay, so I'm going to go ahead and start painting. I'll do the light first. Keep my alcohol clean. I like the drips, but if you don't, that's okay. We're just mixing, 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 and pushing it right into the sanded paper. It makes it nice. We went out last night for my brother's 40th birthday.
Oh, wow.
And I'm tired. It was open bar, and boy, did we have fun. So
Fun gets harder as you get older.
it is, my gosh. It's like painful. And I'm not like a big drinker, so I mean, I like to have my wine, but man, yeah, open bar, it feels like, ooh, I can have whatever I want. And then you're like, pace yourself. What are you doing? I was like, oh, you're teaching class tomorrow. Slow down. So, yeah, this is good. I'm just jumping in up here. Ooh, that's a pretty color. I love pastels. They're so fun. I hated them in the beginning, I'll be honest. Didn't know what I was doing. They frustrated me. But
I feel that way about paint. Like, it's not that I'm good at pastels, but I just feel when I do painting with Leah, I'm like underpainting and colors, and it just freaks me out.
yeah. Is it the mixing that you're having frustrating?
I think so, and I don't know why.
Well, from my own experience, it's one, trying to figure out what color you need, right? And when at first you're just looking at it and you want to just copy exactly, but that only works for so long. You kind of need to know. That's why I was asking earlier. You kind of need to know why you're mixing a cooler or a warmer color, and that's actually building the foundations. Because then the mixing of the colors comes kind of after the fact, I found. So, meaning pastels, you kind of already have these pre-mixed colors. So like you see, oh, I need a light color. Okay, I'm going over here. This looks like the right color. But when you have oil, think about this. And this might help you, Jackie.
Mm-hmm.
Think about, how would I do this in pastel? Pull out all of your sticks that you would do it in pastel, and then try to mix those with your oils.
Huh. Yeah. Okay.
Okay. And so what would happen is now you're learning what colors to pick that make that color. So, right? Because that's the frustration, is you're like, why are you choosing this color to mix with this color to get where, is that where you, right?
Yeah.
You're like, why are you pulling out a burnt sienna to add with a purple to get this color, and then you're taking white and now you're tinting it, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
And Leah just does it. Leah just says, and we get this and this and this, and we just pull a bit of this and here, and I'm like, what? What are you talking about?
Yeah, you need to know why.
Yes.
Yeah. So I'm the same way, because then my brain just shuts off.
Right.
I'm overwhelmed. I just get overwhelmed. So the best thing to do is, since you have your pastels, and it seems like it's fairly easier for you to see because those are kind of pre-mixed, right?
Yes.
I would challenge yourself to see if you can get those colors by mixing in oil. Okay? And then when you mix them in oil, think about what blue what are cool blues? What are warm blues? What is your complementary colors? If I mix these two, what am I going to get? And do a chart and start mixing, make a mixing chart. I've got one around here I can show you that I've done. And
Yeah.
boy, does that help.
That would help.
Because then you can kind of see, here it is. I did one, actually did two of them. Can you see?
Oh, yes.
Okay, so at the top, I've got, what is this? Trans yellow oxide. This is cad yellow deep, yellow ochre, cad yellow light, and Naples yellow. So I was just mainly doing yellows. And then I did ultramarine blue with some white. And I mixed those two, and then I just added more white to tint it to lighter colors. And you can really see what are warmer based on these yellows.
Yep.
Right?
Yeah, that's clever.
So this one is using, you see?
Yep.
It's the burnt umber with quinacridone magenta with ultramarine blue, and I mixed those across the way and then tinted them with white. Try it out and do some charts for yourself.
Sounds good. I will. Thank you.
Then you can mix, because mixing is key. You need to learn. I'm sure Jeannie understands that too.
I'm sure she does.
What do you think, Jeannie? What's been the easiest for you to learn about color?
Actually, the concept of underpainting, like the way we're doing it here is very different because we're underpainting the colors we're going to actually use for a lot of it.
Yeah.
Whereas when you underpaint, like when we did the snow and we did like the gold, the trees in the snow, and we did the gold underneath so that the glistening aspect came out from that.
Yep. So that is, yes, that's a good point. Why? Because you can do that too. You could change this, and the overall color is whatever you want, and then you can do the complementary color of it. You're not wrong. It's kind of like how you want the final piece to look like. I'm treating it more like waves in that respect. So I'm choosing to look at what's underneath all of those lights. And then, oh, hi, Christy. Hi, Christina.
Hi. So we are doing an underpainting then?
Yes, we decided at last minute.
Okay.
If you don't have stuff to do in underpainting, don't worry about it. You can just do dry. But if you do have the alcohol or the Gamsol, jump right in. We were just kind of talking about why we are really choosing the local color to start with, and I think versus like a complementary color, because sometimes we do complementary colors for our underpaintings, and Jeannie was pointing out, like, sometimes we choose this way, sometimes we don't, and that's going off me as my gut, how I want it to turn out. And that's just over time painting and seeing, like that snow when we did that pink, it just really made it glow, and we were laying those blues and greens, and it was just like beautiful. And it's the same with like the waves. I try not to do any underpainting that is complementary, because I find the less is more, meaning I'm going to just lightly lay some color over my underpainting and try to get as much of that base color underneath the foam, or in this case, underneath these reflections. I'm trying to get close to that. So when it comes time to lay that color over the top, our underpainting's done most of the work for us. For the snow piece of it, like when we did the trees, I wanted it to vibrate more and make it interesting and have that peek through as a nice, fun contrast. So you are right. It seems like you could do different ways, and you can, and it's not wrong. And that way, I encourage you, try painting this again. This is a very simple composition. Try it out with using a complementary color and see if that works. See if you like it. But I find that it wouldn't probably read properly, because you would have this pinky orange, and then, okay, so now we're looking at doing a green underpainting, almost like a yellow green, and then you're trying to lay that pink over it, and it wouldn't, you would just be putting blue over it. You see what I mean? So in this case, I wouldn't suggest doing that. You could try. But I don't know. I think it's just sometimes I like letting the underpainting show through. So in this case, we're gonna, yeah, I just left it. And now we're just gonna lightly take some of these colors and just drift it over this really pretty underpainting. And you can take more of those blues and come back over and like push it into your, smooth it out. If you want to smooth it out, like you can see, if even with my finger, I'm just kind of rubbing it in and getting rid of some of these brush marks, you can do that. That's it. I mean, it's all in kind of how you want your finished painting to look. If you want it smoothed out, you can, or you want to leave some of those brush marks, you can. Try it out. I think someone sent over a picture. Let me look. Yeah, cool. See, and Jeannie's doing more of a reddish color underneath, right?
Yeah, you said something about the warmer purple, so I went with it.
Yep, perfect. Looking good. All right. So I'm gonna pull up this picture. I told everyone earlier, Christina, I'm going off my phone picture because my printer doesn't print out really exactly, and it's a little bit more saturated color on my phone, and I liked the contrasting better than it kind of dulled it out. We're getting rid of this bridge. We've kind of pulled back this landmass compositionally. It wasn't really doing much, so we got rid of that.
Got it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And don't let me delay you. Go ahead and
Yep.
I'll just copy what you guys are making.
Okay. So let's start out with the top of the sky. I've got these really fun pinky purples, and they're kind of moving warmer, right, to the peaches over here, and then more of the lavender and light pinks and a little bit duller off to this side. So this is kind of fun where we get to just start playing with our pastels. I'm going to take a picture and I'm just going to lay some color down and see what it looks like. And here are my peaches and pinks. And then these are my more duller and cooler purples. Okay. And let's get back to the photo. So I'm going to take my pink and I'm just going to test off here. That seems fairly reasonable out over here. And I'm just going to touch very lightly with this pink. Kind of just see how it's moving. I'm going to stop about there. And it's fairly dark. And that's okay. So we got bands kind of coming through. And I like how it kind of comes right down to this landmass. I found with doing sunsets or sunrises, less is more. Very, very light touch. And got some larger area over here. Might touch down just a little bit here. Okay. A lighter pink. Might be too light. I'm just testing. You pull out the colors, and then once you do your underpainting, it's reacting a little bit different. So I'm taking this duller, cooler pink. I love this cloud. And so I'm taking my pastel and I'm just lightly dragging it off like this. These wispy, very, very light, very light. I pressed a little harder down on that. Just come right up here. Okay. It's like we need a little bit more of a purple out here. It's a duller purple. Just adding, layering a little bit more into that pink. They're about the same value, just a little different color. Okay. Let's see. Come down here with some peach. That warm peach. And then it's going to come over here. This is where it starts to get warmer, almost into an orange. This transitioning part can be a little tricky. So again, just light applications as we move down into the horizon. Oops. Okay. Now we're coming down a little bit more. This is a coral color. Ooh, look at it on that. It's pretty. Just gonna. So try to remember not to make these bands super equal like I just did. It's just what we want to do. So but we really want to pay attention to that. Okay. Let me take a picture. I'm going to leave it right now with the sky left alone. And I'm going to start working on the landmass and then down into the water. It's tempting to just quickly get the sky in, but we really need to work the bottom to then work the top. We kind of want to work it all at the same time. So don't spend too much time. Christina, I was talking about, I have this gray value finder, and an artist had taken a mid-tone value of the gray and hole punched it and used that to kind of isolate parts on your photograph
Right.
and picture. And I suggest doing it. You could paint a piece of paper in a mid-tone gray, and you could use your rubbing alcohol, or you could do acrylic paint and hole punch it or put a hole in it. But it is fascinating to, when you isolate that color and get all the, what I call noise away, it's not exactly what you think it is. So it really, really helps when you're not quite sure what to do, especially like on this horizon. It just seemed there was like this, I was there, but in the picture, it's throwing out a little bit more of a color than really what it was. And so I had to go back in, and I was looking at it, and it's definitely like along this area, way more of a red violet than I even thought it was just by looking at it. So I encourage you to try to use this technique, and it helps when you're like isolating down here, looking for what is that color that's reflecting off the water. And when you isolate it from everything, it tells you, is it darker or lighter than your medium value? And it kind of guides you, and it really does help. So if you get a chance, try it out. I've found that it's helpful. This is just a dark new pastel. It's like a blue, navy blue, and I'm just coming in lightly. I like to leave some of that warmer purple peeking through. So I'm just coming down close to the horizon and very lightly dragging my pastel up. Very lightly. Let's soften that. Soften this. Okay. So you can see down in the water, we've got this really beautiful red, violet, peachy color off to this side. So we're going to try to work that. And again, in the distance, we don't really have detail, but as we come forward, we can indicate where the sky is reflecting right in here. So going with in the distance, it's going to be lighter and muted compared to what we have in the front. And so we're going to try this and see how it is. Might be a little too dark. This is like a rose, violet, pink with a little bit of pink. And I'm just gonna lightly drag it over. Might need to be a little lighter. Let's see, this might be too light, but if we mix, no, that's too light. See, this is how we go and test, right? So now I need to find something that's a little bit more muted in the red violet family. So let's try and see if this will work. That's better. Okay. All right, I'm gonna leave that. Just lightly touch it with my finger in just little areas. I like the underneath kind of showing through. And now we're going to move forward. I'm just kind of looking at this area here, and it's going to get a little warmer. So I'm going to use this warmer orangey peach. Lightly drag it over, just like that. And it is a little darker than what we see because we get to put color over it. And it just is a little bit, and see now I'm wanting to go right in the middle. So we don't want to divide the painting. So I'm going to drag some of this into this area. Just like that. Okay. Again, now we're going to move over on this side. It's going to be a muted purple, like a gray blue. Lightly drag into here. And I'll take a picture of it so you can see. So this is the color I'm using. It's like this, say it's a very dull, more on the purple blue side. And so see that distance, how it's, you know, in the distance, it's that really light muted. And then I'll bring this, I'm going to soften that horizon. So it's not so bright. Okay. Does anyone have questions as I move along? Just ask away. I'm going to start moving into some warmer, a little bit of purple as we're coming forward. It's still muted. I'm still letting that underpainting show. I'll do more intentional marks. But I'm just getting that layer in. The first pass, soften that a little bit. Okay. I think we need to come back with that orange, coral, a little bit right in here. Okay. And then let's get, go back over these trees just a little bit more. This is with that same red violet that I put down earlier for the underpainting. And I'm just gonna come back in. Using the edge, just coming up into the sky a little bit to show that these are trees. Make these a little bit higher. A little bit of more interest than just a straight line. So we're coming in, I'm gonna do just a little bit darker purple, right? Darker red violet. It kind of just comes right out into here. Okay, I'm gonna step away from that. I'm gonna take a picture so you can see. How's everyone doing? I like painting these sunsets. It's relaxing. They're pretty. We're so lucky out here in the West Coast, I'm sure you guys too, to have these beautiful, beautiful sunsets.
I was just looking at a spectacular one yesterday.
Were you?
Mhm.
Ooh, where
Oh,
at?
I was on the freeway though, heading down into a valley.
Oh,
Couldn't
isn't that the best?
Yeah. And then the city lights below at the bottom of the mountain. It was pretty gorgeous.
It sounds spectacular. Yeah, I love that. I love it. I love probably sunsets and sunrises are one of my favorites. I just can't get enough. I had a beautiful sunrise the other day at work. I'll send you a picture of it. And it just was like, it just kept getting crazier and crazier. So this was the end of it. Let's see here. If I can do it. Oh, will it not let me? Select photo. Gosh, it was beautiful. And I thought about doing this as one for today, but it had a lot going on and we could. It's a sunrise. But isn't that pretty? That was so fun. It was beautiful. All right, so we're gonna move into some oranges down below here. And I've got some warm ones to some cool ones. And the cooler, I'm gonna kind of drift off to the right side and then move into some really more warm and intense. So I'm gonna start with my medium yellow. And I'm just gonna use the edge, just put it in here. And I say yellow, but it's got more of an orange tint to it, you can see. And it's quite bright, but when you put it on the blue, it changes a little bit. So that's it for that one. I'm gonna come in with a lighter color. Again, just the edge. Come right down into here. Lightly drag it out. Okay. And then we've got this peach. Taking right down, going at an angle. We've got a little bit of that hitting the other underside here. And we're going to come back. This is just like another peach mid-value. I need another orange. Okay, I've got this pretty orange right down into here, into that pink. So in order to keep these colors not turning to mud, I'm just doing a broken line, so it's not a straight line. I'm just tapping and I'm just adding color here and there, and then filling in those areas with just a slightly lighter color of orange. And seems tedious, but then you're not going to get that mud color that we worry about. And over here, as it's coming to almost to this bank, it's turning a little pink. It's getting a little farther away. So we're going to make sure that we take that coral color that we were using and come right into that, to that edge. And then we'll come over that with just a lighter. And I'm just touching very lightly. Very, very light. Okay. Then we're going to come back over to this. And this is just a little lighter. And I'm filling in those areas. Coming right along where that real bright light is. As it's moving away from that sun, it's just getting a little bit more saturated. I'm just tapping. Right in here. And then we're going to come back with that coral color and come right at the tops. Right at the top. Just dragging it. You can see that it's got a little bit more of a dark at the top, and then right underneath it is that really bright yellow. Let's see here. Looks the same. I need a little brighter. Nope. That's pretty orange. Really need that bright yellow though. Gotta find that. Okay. Let's see. Oops. I think that might work. We'll let that sit here for a minute and work our way up. Okay. So I think that it's light enough. I can come right in and drag that. Okay. Let me take a picture for you guys. Why don't you send in where you guys are at so I can see? Kind of feel like I need to add a little bit of a extend this just a little bit more for whatever reason. Have those bright colors right here.
Marie, there's a call I'm gonna have to take, so I'm gonna mute and turn off my camera for a minute, but I'll be
Oh,
back in 10 minutes?
Yeah, no problem.
Okay.
No problem. How are you doing? How are you guys doing?
Okay, I guess.
Yeah. I know.
I don't have, I, so does it make a difference? I just used regular like isopropyl alcohol today. It's not the, whatever it was, 90% or whatever. It didn't seem to, I feel like looks different to me.
Which one what percentage did you use? 70 or 90?
No, hang on, 70.
Okay, and you're saying it looks different?
It does.
Yeah. So I know that if for some if you're in like a humid climate, that it seems to dry a lot faster, the 90% versus the 70%.
Uh-huh.
But it shouldn't change. It shouldn't look completely different, but you're saying it's looking different.
Yeah. Plus, sorry, I'm just like, I don't have my stuff, and I think the brush that I used is just a regular watercolor brush. I don't think it got in the grain. I don't know what's happening to me today.
Yeah, send over a picture so I can see.
Yeah, hang on.
Yeah, let me see what.
Yeah, I think I filled in the tooth too much too. I'm not sure what's.
Well, and that can happen. I mean, don't beat yourself up in terms of that, because it's learning what your tools can do and what tools work and which ones don't. And I know that for and I'm sure Leah said this in class, the sandpaper is going to eat your brushes. If you keep doing underpaintings a lot, it's just going to eat them up. Yeah. So I have a couple brushes I just set aside only for underpainting. I like the watercolor brushes, but I tend to use these angled brushes a little more. I like it lets me kind of maneuver around when I'm painting, because I tend to use angle brushes a lot, like these. So if you have something like, and you can get cheap ones.
Yeah, I have. I just don't have it today.
Yeah. So I found, but let me see if I can recognize any different. I've not really found difference, but
okay.
Let me see.
Yeah. I'm just imagining it.
No, you're not. I know that other artists have talked about the humidity of where they live really does affect what percent of alcohol they use. So that looks, yeah.
Okay.
That looks great, Jackie. I love the hillside. See that warm red over the blue?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like that a lot.
I love that. I would leave it.
Okay.
And you're getting the whole movement of the sky, those clouds, and you're noticing. And so even, and you may not know this, but look at how you're dragging your pastel and indicating those wisps with that dark pink. It's really beautiful. Yeah, you're doing a great job. And then down in the water. Yep. So now you can start blending a little bit more in the distance, and then we're going to start adding a little bit of lighter color over the top. But see how it's just layers. We're just doing little bits at a time.
Yes.
And I know it seems a little, I could work a lot quicker, but that's not the point. The point is for you to follow along and see why we're choosing these colors and why we're applying it as a layer as we're working through it. So yeah, so good job. You're doing great. And then let me see, Christina, when you have a moment, so I'm just curious what it looks like. I personally like the 70% better than the 90%. like gummed up more on my paper. So I don't know if that's what you're having. Like it,
So
like it,
actually, that is a good word for it. It gummed up, and now so when I put dry pastel on top, and hang on, I mean, I accidentally spilled some on it again. That's why I haven't shown it to you yet.
no worries.
That's why. But when I
That-
put a new color on top, it just looks, it doesn't blend right.
Yeah, yeah. I found, so maybe that's what it is, because it was gumming up for me. I switched. I went back to the 70%. I didn't like it. It wasn't doing what I wanted. So maybe that's what's happening.
Maybe.
I'm just testing colors here to figure out. It's a little bit of purple up in here, and yeah, let me see. I saw it came through.
I can't blend anymore. It feels like it's, so you see
Yeah.
where I put the white on it? I can't
Yeah.
really blend it anymore. It just looks like that now.
Is it and this is the 70%?
Yeah,
Yeah.
70% ethyl alcohol.
Yeah. I wonder.
Oh. It's a hand sanitizer.
I'm wondering if and this is on the UArt.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm wondering if you should switch to the 90%, if that would work better.
So I don't have that, but
That's okay. I'm just curious. You can
I'll
get
catch up.
some and then try that and see if that actually would work better.
Okay. I do have those. I have bottles of those. I just don't have them today.
Yeah, see, because I feel like you're in a more humid area.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I'm wondering if you're having something like that would work better.
Okay. No
So
worries.
yeah, try that. I'm just taking a value lighter than this pink and coming over the top a little bit and just seeing if that works with up in here. I'm gonna go back to my picture here. Just trying to see what I can find to make that pink pop. I've got this bright new pastel pink, and it might work a little nicer down here in these bright areas. Oof, it is bright. That might be a little too bright. This is when you think, oh, I need more pastels. No, no. Do I?
Every time I go to this class, I think I need more
I
pastels.
know. I'm laughing with you. Like it's crazy. I'm just, yeah, trying to find something that works here.
Okay, I can force it in.
Yeah. This is that Sennelier pastel, the Paris. I think that's the one that you got, Christina.
I still haven't opened those. I will today. Too intimidating.
Too intimidating, yeah. I know, I hear you. I'm gonna take this pipe insulation foam and I'm just gonna play and see if I can't drag some of this up and see, just seeing what I can do with it. Make it a little bit wispier. You can use your finger if you want. I'm not blending at all. I'm just using it to drag some of this pastel over. And I've said it's very, very light. Just kind of looking at the movement. I really like this movement of this cloud. So I think I'm going to try to get a color that works. works for that. And just kind of drag it. And like this. And then take that pipe insulation and pull it up. And it gives you this really nice movement. So if I were painting this in oil, I would be using my fan brush. My fan brush I love, and it helps me create these wispy movements. So I was telling Jackie earlier, we were talking about how do you color mixing sometimes can be really daunting and frustrating. And you know, getting these are your tools that you're learning how to manipulate and get what you want. And I had said challenge yourself to pull out your sticks like you would paint whatever you're doing in Leah's class for oil, and then see what you would do in pastel, and then try to mix your oils to those pastels you picked. Kind of forces you to see what colors you're using and what makes sense. And it's the same with your brushes. Take your brushes out and play with them and see what you can do to how it can help create these. I'm actually adding in a little bit more blue. I covered up. I didn't want to cover up because I like this swirling. So I'm coming back in. But yeah, it's good to try to apply everything you're learning in all your classes and take them, especially in here, into the pastels. I'm just coming back over with this dark blue, and I'm going to soften this edge just a little bit, and then I'll come back with that purple. And drag up. Okay, I'm going to leave it. You can go on forever and mess with things, and you don't need to do that. This is a good shadow color, this purple up here. So I'm going to come along and just look at where I can apply that for some shadowed areas. Into my clouds. Just come up. Just apply a little bit more here. And so in order to get these where you have this hard edge, I call it, I kind of rub my pastel in and then lightly drag it out. So wherever I have a band of color that I want to pop a little bit, I'll take my pastel and I'll just kind of push a little bit harder and then drag out. And I can see I need a little bit more orange right up in here. This is a semi-hard pastel. Rembrandts are really nice. They have a nice little set if ever you're in the ready to do something like that. They don't eat up the tooth of your paper. And they're really nice. So now I'm just back and forth blending these edges. feel like this needs to be blended out a little bit more. There we go. And just connect these. This is a lighter. And just barely touching. Barely touching. Just slightly blending. Okay. What's tricky about sunsets is this gradation. So we're having multitude of colors and values, and we're trying to get them all to play nicely, right? To look blended, but then direct our eye this way. So it is a lot of composing. So if you're feeling a little overwhelmed, like I'm bouncing around, I am bouncing around, because everything in a painting like this it's all tied. So if I'm doing something bright over here and it's going to affect this, then it's like that makes something over in this area not look right. So it's constantly adjusting. And so I can see off over here, we've got a lot more angles. So I'm just going to put that in. And we got this little piece coming out here. You can also take a hard, I have like this hard fan brush, and you've seen me use it before. You can take away if you realize, oh, I didn't want that much here, and you can brush it off. And so you can just tap just like this and come in, see, and create these, what I call sky holes. And you can just adjust areas. And we do this when we're painting waves. And it's a great, great tool. See how I'm just pulling some of this pastel off? And I can use it to drag it out and soften those edges. And you can carve out little pieces, like right in here. And now I'm definitely fine tuning, and we're not at that point yet, but try it out if you have an old fan brush, or you can use your blending tool. But I like it. I like the effects that it does. You can just tap it, you know. You can come in here and just grab and soften a little bit, just tapping a little bit here. I feel like this needs to kind of come up. I'm just dragging it. Clouds are forgiving because you really can just make them however you want. As long as you're kind of paying attention to the lights and darks, you can make a puffy cloud as big as you want. There's no rule against that. So you kind of get to just orchestrate and create. And I'm just feel like I need to bring some more of this orange down into here. And then this kind of comes, and I'm going to run it right over that pink, just a little bit. just a little bit. Now it's going to come and we're connecting these two little areas, and I'm just lightly adding that orange. Just lightly. And come down here. And soften these edges here. Okay. All right. We need to kind of add a little bit more of that purpley pink over here, just a little bit. I like this turquoise, so I'm just going to bring up a little bit off here. And then we'll come down into our water. This is a warmer purple. I'm just hitting the tops of the trees right where that bright sun, that it gets cooler as it moves out. I'm just adding that right in here. Okay. I'll take a picture of that. Actually, this is where okay. I'm going to leave this sky alone for right now, and we're going to come down into the water. And what I want to do is I want to just hit the tops with just some lighter colors to kind of get the eye to bounce this way and then come around. That's kind of what we're wanting to show in this painting. So I'm going to fill in and blend that a little bit better, meaning right in here, lightly glazing over the top of these two purple and blues with a very muted blue. And it's cooler, and then it's going to come right into that warm. I'm going to take some of that cooler and bring it just down into here. And we're going to mix it back and forth with this pink. And I'm going to push just a little bit harder to say this is where that flat trough area of the water and the sky is reflecting, right? And then hit it with my finger to soften. I am going at just a little bit of an angle. So I want the viewer to come this way. So as soon as we come about here, it's going to start getting warmer. So we're going to go to a peach from that pink. This might be a little too, I need another shade lighter. So let's see. That's not going to be it. We're going to go with this. Just a shade lighter. Good, Christina. Nice. So now on your sky, you can take your, you've got a really beautiful blending. And now you can take these more saturated areas of the colors. See those right in here?
Yeah.
Like right here, right here. And you're going to take your pastel and you're going to push, and then you're just going to drag, and then you're going to push down, and you're going to drag, push down, and you're going to drag. So you're
Okay.
just like pushing down and then drag. See? Push down and drag. And it's going to layer right over the top of those beautiful colors you have. And then it's going to create this glow. So do that up here and then let me see what you have, how it's looking. Good job. How are you doing, Jackie?
I can send what I have over.
Okay.
Um,
It's all about edges. I'm sure you hear about that a lot, is working those edges. Yeah, that looks great. Good. I love the water. So now let's just keep adding a little bit and let's fill in some of those areas just a little bit more. I love it. It's beautiful. So keep applying your colors. So meaning I'm just pushing down a little bit harder and you've got that beautiful underpainting. And so we want it, right, to be just a little bit more softened as the distance and then more texture as we move forward. And you're doing that. And so I'm just hitting the tops of the water here.
Yeah.
And so see how I'm playing on the edges of the water. I added that. So this is where we're coming into this warmer area. And so I'm just working the edge of that water. Just working it. Take your time. Take your time. Horizontal strokes, very light. Very, very light. You just, like I said, you're just back and forth, back and forth. Especially when you have these two waters meeting each other, right? I say the two sides of the warm and cool. So it's this really light. Back and forth. And I'm making it a little bit more intense right in here where we know the glow of that sun. So I'm just adding a little bit more color and then it gets duller as it comes out to the side here. You can just blend that out. Very, very simple marks. And then I just kind of move my finger over it. Come back in here and fix this line. And then I'll want it too crazy, but okay. And you've got some of this wave action. You can put that in if you want down in here where it's got these rough waters. And I'm just using this pastel to kind of blend, putting in those troughs. And you can do that. They're going to get flatter as you move out into the distance, but they're a way that we can use to draw our eye, right? And draw our eye to this. Okay. And okay. Just now taking this hard pastel and blending in a little bit of what I put over the top. And then we can come back in with the lights. Not too much. We have these really fun grapes. That might be a little too light, so we don't want it to interfere with our sky. So I'm going to add a little bit of darkness to it. And then come here, some orange. We can spend hours on the water. Okay. I'm taking this orange over into this area just a little bit to connect the two. But not too much. Again, just pressing and then lightly dragging it. And by taking this pink and then this orange over it, it's creating actually the color that I want. So goes back to that blending. You may not have every single color, and that is totally fine. It's good. It forces you to see what you need to do to blend. So,
Hey, Marie.
yeah.
So can I take a picture?
Yes.
So I'm making these like marks in the corner, right?
Yeah.
So they'd look like I don't want to blend them, but they'd look a little stark. Does that make sense?
Okay. Yeah. Send it over and let me see.
I just sent it.
Okay.
So it looks like a cylindrical thing made a mark on it, as opposed to.
Oh, in the top, this area?
Yes, the pink.
Okay, so I would take that dark pink that you have down below, and I would now go up into that. I would go right and just set right in here and then now pull up over that white
Oh, I see.
and mix it.
I see. Okay.
Yep.
Like a darker pink. Okay.
Yep. Actually, even the pink that you used below would work. And then you can just blend. Yeah, so take that pink and come right up into that white area and do same technique you did over that white.
Okay. Yeah, it
And
looks
then,
a little less. Yeah.
And then touch it with your finger a little bit. And I would take even some purple. If you've got that purple that you used down below,
Mm-hmm.
I would then take some purple out to the edges.
Mm-hmm.
So you're putting that warmth right in the center and then filtering out the cooler part of the cloud, if that makes sense.
I'm gonna try.
Yep, do it. It'll read more like a cloud, like what you're wanting. Oops.
I won't even attempt water
Yeah.
today.
Let me see what and then send it over. Let me see it. I created my own mud there with my dirty hands. Did that work okay?
I think too, it's because the pastels are so new.
Yeah.
You know, the edges are not flat.
Oh. Okay. So see how I have this edge around my paper?
Yeah.
That's where you want to get
Tape it down.
get your edge. Yep. Yeah. Yep, I hear you. That can be a problem. Okay. How are you doing, Jackie?
I mean, I'm still going.
Good job.
I'll take a picture.
Good.
I've just got gross fingers, but
I know.
Don't we all?
You're doing good. It is. This is a very good exercise in blending. Learning to take the colors and blending them together, like even those exercises that we've done with using the oranges, right, and painting the oranges and learning how to blend all the way around the edges. And this is a lot like that. We're taking these colors and we're making it seamless and transitioning it from the dark blues to the light blues to the warm blues. I mean, it's a lot. You're seeing that it can take a lot of blending.
Is it best to start with I'm realizing I probably should have started with the darker colors and the highlights go on top. I'm doing them backwards.
Good job. Yes, that's exactly right. So you do want to go darker underneath. Because you always want to go a shade darker, because then when you lay the colors on top, you can adjust those colors. You're good observation. You're realizing it. That's good. So next time when you do it, you're going to want to do a dark blue, and then you're going to lay your lights over that. Because right now you're trying to go dark over your light, and it's pretty difficult. Yeah. So
I love these colors though.
yeah, I know. Aren't they just beautiful?
Gorgeous.
Me too. It makes me happy.
Yeah, green.
I don't want to paint anything that's like sad. I'm about painting some nice, beautiful. I guess that's why I love landscapes. I just absolutely love landscapes.
Do you not do portraits at all?
What was that?
Do you not do portraits?
I don't. I am generally a landscape painter. Most of my commission work is all landscapes. So, I love being outdoors, and I spend quite a bit of time outdoors, and so I take a bazillion pictures, and I just enjoy taking those pictures and then creating something from them. And yeah, but like the cityscapes that Leah does, she's amazing. I mean, she just has such a talent of being able to do that. And I see it and I can do it, but it's just, that's not what I go to painting wise.
I worked downtown a long time until the pandemic, really. So
Yeah.
I guess it's not the city scenes that draw me right now.
Right. And so, whoops, sorry guys. That's exactly right. That's why my mom lives remote in Alaska, and I absolutely love being there, and wildlife, and it's just so beautiful. And I guess that's what I want everyone in my class to have, that love of it, and to look at something and say, you know what, I think I can paint that, and have that confidence.
See, I feel that way about pumpkins.
What?
So what about the pumpkins are comforting for you? What about it?
Lindsay just took this really beautiful, that the three gourd shot. And I mean, I guess we didn't really have a big pumpkin thing growing up in Australia, so it's always been a bit of a novelty.
Yeah.
But like pumpkin patches, we didn't really have like pumpkin patches. So that's always been sort of, we took our little kids to the pumpkin patch when we moved here, and yeah, it's just comforting.
Yeah. So isn't that interesting?
Yeah.
But so you can you not tell when you're painting them, you're just like so excited painting them, right?
Yeah.
You just love it.
I do.
I feel that way. So and I think that's important to recognize that too, because that's you. That's what you enjoy. And I mean, keep painting them. You're learning a lot, and your muscle memory, like there's a picture that I'm doing again. I've painted it probably 4 or 5 times, and every time I paint it, it gets better and better and better. So there's something to be said about continuing to paint and practice those, because it is important.
Yeah.
And to enjoy it, I love it. You hear Molly, she's talking to you.
Yeah.
I think though for this exercise, I'm just learning my my new set of pastels, because look, it doesn't look right.
Well, you actually, Christina, found out what happened. You realized I should have went darker, right?
Yeah. See, look, it's a lot of just a mix of paints.
Yeah, so it goes mud, but it doesn't look bad, you know.
Doesn't look right either.
No, it doesn't look right, but you can correct it. One thing you can do is, I don't know if you knew this, but you could take that whole paper and run it underwater and scrub that off.
Oh,
You're going to be left with somewhat of underpainting, but I would go right back over it with darker blue and start over again.
okay.
Just
Or
so
should
you,
I?
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
And I should just blend them with my fingers and try and make it work that way.
I think you would be better off at this point, yeah, taking it all off as best you can, let it dry, come back over with your dark blue pastel and do a alcohol wash again. And then come in with your, and then come in with your lighter colors and work it. It's too hard to go from light to dark. We have, with pastels, you have to go dark to light.
Okay.
Woo, look at that, Jeannie. Yeah, I love it.
I don't like the water, but
What?
the waters, I can't get that good choppy feeling.
Okay.
Yeah, how do you get that choppy feeling?
Okay, so I'll take a picture here, and what you want to do is you want to just take a new pastel and 3 different values, and you're going to just hit the tops of where that light hits. Just squint your eyes. So you're squinting your eyes looking at the picture, just where those tops are. And then with waves, we generally have this crisscrossing. Remember how in the foam where we kind of had this crisscrossing like this? That's kind of how it is in the water. It's kind of how, so you have this, you come up and then down and then up and then down. And so you're creating this crisscross. And then that creates these troughs. And then you take that light color and you put right on the tops of those. So then you hit that with that bright color and you've got that dark underneath. You tap it and you can create those areas where it's bright. And then you have that dark underneath.
And are they, like colors that are fairly similar, or can they be one yellow, one blue?
They are,
one purple?
Yes, they're going to be a little bit darker than what you have in the sky. It's going to be just a little bit darker down here. And then in those, like you can see in the picture, then you have these just a little bit brighter on the tops. And so that's what you can use, just not too bright though, because it'll take away from the whole painting, and then all you'll see. So how to make it brighter, but not whiter, the white tints. And so you want saturated colors, like these in your Paris collection, you have very beautiful saturated colors. This is what I'm talking about. So this is a bright gold.
Yeah, here I'll send you the thing.
Let me, whoops, wrong camera. Okay. So this is a bright gold. You see those, so that's going to be a very beautiful color to hit the tops of the water. It's not white, but it glistens. So see?
Okay. I mean, I see you doing it. I don't think I can do it, but I'll keep trying.
You keep trying. The best thing to do is go dark underneath.
Okay.
Remember? So we want dark blue
lighter than your underpaint. So sorry.
Yeah, no, dark blue underneath, and then we start layering lighter colors on top, but not light. We're going mid-value.
Okay.
And then you're going to take these very saturated bright colors, like I just showed you, that gold, and that's going to be at the very end, it's going to be where the sun is hitting the tops tops of the waves. And then as you move, so this is your orange, and then as you move over here, you're going to have maybe like a purple.
Got it.
No, Molly,
Yeah, she
saying-
needs a walk.
she's like,
Okay.
Mom, are you done?
It's just me.
5
know.
minutes.
Yes, Molly. No.
5 minutes.
Okay, so see, I'm putting some purple in here on this
Mhm.
side because it's darker. And this is going to be kind of the shadowy area. So I'm just connecting the two, doing that crisscross, just little bits. And then I'll come over with a shade lighter in the purple family, and I'm going to just hit the tops of it. And that's going to be where the water just in this area. This could be a whole nother lesson of when we can do waves, but in foam. And this is, so I'm just tapping with my finger to kind of soften it. But so see how you still get the light here, but it's a cooler, and then it's moving into that bright, warm color. And then as we move back, it's going to be warmer, but it's going to be a more pink. So it's transitioning from the orange, and now we're going to be transitioning to the pink. And it's going to come this coral. And we're just going to tap just barely. You see that? And this is not easy. So it's a little bit more advanced than where we're at for some. So, and I'll take a picture of it so you can see what I'm talking about. And most important, Christina, step away after, take a break and step away and see what you can adjust. What needs to be adjusted is what I'm saying. Because standing away from it will help you see. So you can see where that sun is right here. And so now I need to kind of I need to make this a little bit brighter because you know the sun's going to be making that a little bit more intense. So just got to think about, okay, I need this a little bit more.
I'm picking the wrong colors. It looks very Miami Vice at the moment. I'm going to show you. Take a look. Because I'm really not trying to make the painting anymore. I'm just learning my material.
That's okay. Then, yeah, take a break. Yeah. Okay, let me see. I got to see this Miami Vice. Did you send it over?
See, look.
Oh my gosh. Yes, but that's perfect. Keep practicing on that. So you're thinking about the shadowed areas of the water, right? And then the areas where the light's hitting the water. So keep doing that. Keep practicing.
The colors are definitely wrong too.
That's okay. So you can do any color. It's just as long as the value is right. So switch it over to black and white, see what it looks like. See if your colors are actually showing a difference, a darker value on the shadowed areas of your wave. So keep going, keep having fun. That's exactly what you need to do. And then start over, repaint it.
I will, because look, I have a nice toolbox here.
Yes, please use those. Please use those. All right, you guys, we're going to have another sky lesson next Sunday, and I don't know. I'm gonna think about what we want to do. Some puffy clouds, or do you guys have anything in particular that you're interested in painting?
Nothing in particular.
Okay.
I'll see if I can send you a picture.
Yeah,
If
of
I can
course.
find any good ones.
Yeah.
So photography is my first hobby.
Yes.
I have
Perfect.
landscape galore, but no
Love it.
painting.
I love
Okay,
it.
I'll send you some.
Yeah. Okay. Good job, everyone.
Okay, bye.
Have a
Thank
good
you.
week.
Thank
You
you.
too.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.